Ego defense mechanisms. Well, first Sigmund Freud was the first to, establish the idea of the id, the ego, and the superego. His daughter Anna Freud was able to break down some specific ego defense mechanisms that you and I use to protect our egos. And this is basically employed by the ego. These mechanisms are employed by the ego in the face of a threat to the biological or the psychological integrity of a human being. There's a whole bunch of them. Basically, there's like 15 of them. The first one is actually compensation. You are, let's say, a handicapped person has, paraplegic or, not able to use the bottom half of their body. Well, they compensate by being valedictorian. This is compensation. Denial. Basically denying that something happened because it's too difficult for you to face that. Displacement. This is a defense mechanism used by a little boy who got punched in the face and bullied at school. And since he can't beat up the bully, he comes home and kicks his dog to displace his anger. This is a defense mechanism. Rationalization is kind of like, let's say, a secretary, a woman came in for a job as a secretary, was given a test, and was denied employment because she didn't pass the word processing. And when she goes home, she tells her boyfriend, "Oh my gosh, I didn't pass because they made me write it on a typewriter." And I mean, who uses a typewriter? If they use a word processor, well, I would have gotten it if I had a word processor. She was rationalizing why she didn't get the job. Reaction formation. Reaction formation is a formation of a way that you feel as a reaction to another way. An example would be a nurse actually hates nursing, but only did it because her parents told her to do it. However, now she works as a nursing recruiter for a college. So she tells everyone how great it is. She orients them to nursing school and says how beautiful it is. But actually, she hates, nursing altogether. So she formed a different opinion based on, as a reaction to what she actually hates. Regression. A kid who has been, drinking from a cup forever, got hurt, is in surgery, and in recovery goes back to sucking on a baby's bottle. He regressed to a former state which he felt safe. Identification. This is like, let's say a kid gets into an accident and has to start going to a rehabilitation center to learn how to, operate the motor skills. And then when he grows up, his career is a physical therapist. He has identified with the physical therapists and now longs to become one. He's identified with something good in his bad situation. Intellectualization. The example of this would be a guy whose brother had a heart attack. The guy's brother is, he's in the hospital room, and the brother, to kind of get away from the idea that his brother could be dying, he talks to the nurse and says, "Hey, let me see the report, let me see the test, let me evaluate what the tests are." And he reads all the symptoms, and he basically breaks it down and rationalizes for himself why his brother got the heart attack. So he's using intellectualization as a defense mechanism to explain why his brother had a heart attack. Moving on down here to introjection. This is like a kid has no idea what religion he wants to be, but since his parents were Catholic, he pretty much has introjected their beliefs into himself, so kind of like injected himself with their belief. Isolation defense mechanism is when a woman got gang raped, and then she tells the story to other women, but her face is expressionless, she speaks in monotone, and it's like it didn't happen there. She's like zombied out, and what she's doing, she's isolating the event like as if it never happened to her, but she's telling a story of it. Projection is like basically some dude who's like in the closet. He's kind of gay, but because he's afraid of telling people he's gay, he goes out and beats up gay people. He beats up gay people because inside he's actually gay, but he can't deal with it. Repression. Repression is different from suppression because repression is an involuntary block of unpleasant feelings and experiences. Like a person who got into a car accident and can't remember anything. He got in a car accident and it was so bad the victim cannot remember anything. It's an involuntary block of unpleasant feelings and experiences. This is repression. He's repressed it from his memory. Sublimation is actually a good thing. It's actually like a kid who has super aggression and very competitive, and instead of turning into gangs and bad stuff, he actually does something sublime, which is he channels his energy into being the star captain of the wrestling team. So using his aggressiveness and competitive nature into a positive outlet. Suppression. Suppression is different than repression because this is a voluntary block of unpleasant feelings. For example, I'll break up with her tomorrow because I don't want to deal with it right now. It's too sad. I don't want to have to deal with that right now. Voluntary suppression. Undoing is like somebody is eating dinner and actually spills all of the salt all over the table. And so he doesn't feel bad. He'll go ahead and grab a pinch of salt, throw it over his shoulder, and be like, it didn't happen. I undid it. Like, I never messed up. So that's undoing. These are all ego defense mechanisms by Anna Freud as a result of Sigmund Freud's studies.